Everybody, hello and welcome everybody to the third race in the Tour de Andrasta, brought to you by the Warrior Games and No Breakaways. Today you have it is your host from the Velocino team, and that we normally run our podcast. It's myself, I'm Mike, and I'm here with Gemma. Gemma,
Hi,
hello.
Mike. Hi, Mike. How are you doing? It's lucky we both made it back in time from the ride.
We did. We just finished our ride at one hell of a sprint for us to make sure that we were here on time. And here today, it's going to be not so much of a sprint today. We've got a 50K race. So it's going to be a more about pacing and people making sure that they're ready for their, marking the points where they want to be attacking over 50K. Gem, I think you've got the results as where we're standing so far after two races.
We do, yeah. Let's roll through those. So from the A+ category, we have got Esther in the lead there with Marina and Louise in third. So 7 ladies here. There's some more, I think, entered this evening. That's a point to say, actually. For the GC standings, which are these, the ladies would have had to race all 3 stages. But there may be some more ladies that just come in tonight for the race, because 50K, though we think, oh, that's such a long way, it's actually unusual to race that far in Zwift. So we may get some ladies that are just in it for the race tonight. So that'd be interesting. A+ Cat, we've got Vice joining us, hopefully on the live stream tonight.
Absolutely. So Vice, for those of you who are joining us late, Katrina was an ex-speed skater, but she's also been in Zwift since pretty much the first month that Zwift started. So when we see her setup, I can't wait to see it. I bet it's really pro. I bet it's cool. I mean, yesterday we saw some great setups on the live. That was good. And I think also, and this is in the Bs, and we've got Asa still at the top. Now, Asa's done a cracking job. I think she's been in the head of this category for the previous 2 races as well. So hopefully she can make that stick through to the end.
Yeah, and we've got hopefully Sani Power joining us this evening from the live stream as well. Seacat.
Yep. So we've got Seaman at the front, and she's managing to squeeze out at the moment the 2 very strong Swiss Zwift riders. We were doing the live stream with Wickman yesterday, and although we didn't get to see her finish on in real life, in Zwift, we did actually get to see the finish in real life on the live cam, and it obviously huge effort in that last sprint.
And the DCAT, sorry, that went on quite quickly. We've got Hirsch in the lead with Johnson swiftly behind. We've seen a lot of Jordan. She's not joining us on the live cam tonight, which I'm slightly disappointed about. But more excitingly, we do have Keris joining us from Vela Vixens.
Absolutely. Now, we were gutted yesterday not to see Johnson managing to finish, because we know that she's got a huge sprint. And there's 2 sprint sections today. So hopefully she'll manage to bag some points on her way through the race.
Yes, so here is the course map for tonight, just over 50K. There's 2 sprints, as Mike said. Yes, go on, Mike.
Sorry, now, I'm excited about this. I'm sorry to talk over you, Gem. But Gem, talk us through this. Where are going to be the exciting parts to attack and what to do on this race?
Well, sorry, my slides keep going forward. There's quite a long way before you even get into one of the 2 hills, Fox Hill and Box Hill, which are both pretty epic, actually. Not the longest of climbs, but they're pretty steep, but they will take the riders quite a while. And not only that, in the middle of the 2, there is a sprint as well. So it may be that some of the women decide to break away then and try and get a head start for the second hill. We may see them kind of grouping together on that first one. I'm not sure if I'd be brave enough to go out ahead on the first one, but you never know. Once you're ahead, you've got a good start. You could take the hill, the sprint, and the next hill as well.
Well, indeed, and you will get to super tuck on the way back down these hills. So if you can kill yourself to the top of the hill, you can then at least get that breather. Now, for those of you looking at the just after the hills, you can see a little bit of a sudden shoot up, a sudden sort of rise in there. Now, this is where you come out of the underground station, and it's a really good point to if we get to watch some of the riders, because in the strange world of Zwift, you actually ride up one of the escalators coming out of the underground, and that rise is incredibly steep. And if you don't know it's coming, it gets to about 15-20%, and again can really catch you out just as you think you've finished your real effort for the hill. So again, it could be one of those places, particularly on the very last lap, where we suddenly see a break in some of the groups.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see bike choice for tonight. I imagine most of the women will go with the quickest bike, the most aero bike they've got. But they do have the 2 hills to take into consideration. So we might see a mixture of some lighter frames and maybe some aero wheels.
Indeed. Brilliant. Well, look, we're just coming up to about 3 minutes to the start. Jem, I think we are starting in different categories, aren't we? So we'll have the A+ going off first and the A's and the B's. Is that right?
Yeah, they're all slightly delayed. I believe they've got a minute delay each. So we are going to try and head off to the A pluses when we can and then filter through the categories. If you've been tuning into us over the last few days, you realise we have had some problems with our fan view, but we are going to try our very best tonight. I now have approximately 1,050 followers, which makes it hopefully easier. More exciting than that, though, and I think we've just got time to squeeze this in before we start. We actually have a third presenter tonight who we've been purposely hiding away and not revealing until now. And we're not actually entirely sure whether he's made it back from the ride yet.
We're not. And so we'd like to introduce you to the third member of the Velocino podcast, the founder and perhaps the savior of Velocino commentary today, Mr. Niels Schnatt. Niels, did you make it back from the ride?
Just 5 minutes ago, my bike is on the wall. The rear
we
light
actually noticed that. And when we can see your bike, because we can't see your video at the moment.
Oh, do I have to put it on? Oh,
yes.
Hello.
And there you go. That's how fast he's been, ladies and gentlemen. He's just got into the room. He hasn't even turned his light off on the back of his bike. I'm surprised that wheel is not still spinning because of the time it's taken to get back off our ride today.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Mike and I got back ages ago, Niels. I don't know what happened to you.
Well, I don't know.
Don't ask him to stand up. I bet he's still got his bib shorts on. Right. Now, here we are. 10 seconds to the beginning of the race, which is great to see. And we're going to start to see some of the riders going off. A few of them already selected the aero helmet. And off we go. So
interesting. This category, even though it's the highest in power terms, there isn't as many riders in this category. So we may see that the A cats actually complete this course or travel it faster than the A plus, just purely with the amount of riders that there are. But these ladies will be pushing out some big watts. You can already see there Beauville putting out over 5.5 watts per kilo.
Excuse me, absolutely. And we've come this first section through London. Obviously, as you can probably tell from our accents, we're from the local-ish area. We'll try and give you some sightseeing tours if it starts to get if we start to lose some of the feeds. But this first
especially
part,
my accent, yeah,
exactly. Niels he just makes us sound much more exotic. And as you can see here, this first section through London is a bit kind of just getting into a rhythm, getting yourself ready for it, knowing that the sections to attack will be the sprints and the 2 big climbs that we've got coming up.
Yeah, interestingly, they've all gone for the Tron bike apart from one rider there. I can't quite see who it is. I can't see the setup either, but when we get a glance at that, I think she's probably just coming past now, actually.
Yeah, if you want
on the air road, yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if some of them might go for somebody might go for a light bike just to absolutely nail it up the climbs. And talking of making yourself lighter, today the power ups are going to be aero, obviously, to make you faster on the flat bits and the descents. We've got the feather, which will be incredibly useful on some of the sections of the climbs, and we've got ghost, which is brilliant for some of those attacks. Maybe if you get to the top of the climb, put your ghost on, sprint over the top, you might be able to get a few lengths on your competitors before they know where you are.
Yeah, and the structure of the points is different again, same format as yesterday, but different to sometimes what we're used to. The 2 sprints are fastest on the sprint segment rather than first over the line. So it will be down to 10th place, fastest on the sprint segment. Then the 2 QOMs are the top 10 first across the segment.
Excellent. And so we've got a couple of different competitions within here. Of course, you can be aiming for points, or you can be aiming for the GC, which is the total time taken across the 4 sessions that we've got there. Now, it's a pretty tight group. And as you can imagine, with a small group and this early in the race, everyone's just going to stick together and just measure their efforts.
Going to the A cats now, you can see there's actually a lot more riders here, 17 in total. I think it looks like they're all together.
Indeed. We've got both Lala Lawson up there, who we're following at the moment, and Tilburn that's also in there. Tilburn actually completed she completed an Everest in November 2020. She said it was one of her proudest moments, and interestingly, the next day discovered that she was COVID positive. Obviously got through COVID and is feeling good now, but anyone who can Everest whilst in the beginning of the having the coronavirus, let's face it, she's got to be hopeful for a win today.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. Actually, I know what it was like when I had it, and there was no chance I could have done that at all.
Absolutely. Well, we've got. She's also a triathlete as well, and she's 3 times. She's done a world's finish at the 70.3. So certainly got the fitness and strength for this. And I have to say, although we've got some great contestants all the way through, great riders all the way through the different categories, this A category is just absolutely filled with talent. And as it is a bigger group, there is a chance they may actually catch up and overtake that A+ category as we work through it.
Lovely. We are looking at the B cats now. Even more riders here, 33. I can't see how many in this group. I don't think it's all 33 of them. We've got Charlotte Backus there from 2024. Dootson we had on the live stream the other day.
Yeah, great to see Dootson. Thank you once again for taking part in the live stream, and thanks again also to her domestique. It was always great to see when we're looking at the live streams, seeing people not just for what they're doing, and also I'm very jealous of some of those setups. I think it was Wickman. I was just in awe of how cool her setup and the background looked. But also the domestiques, as we're going to call them, who are around there passing bottles, cheering on, supporting, and providing technical help, I think, sometimes for the cameras. So yeah, great to see the support that these athletes have got when they're at home.
Excellent. One of our riders in this category, Pedersen, Amy Pedersen. She's only been riding in Zwift for 8 months now. She was cycling every day, and she really likes being able to do that regardless of the weather. This is actually her first Zwift race. So wow. Straight in at the deep end.
Whoa. First Zwift race. And also it's a race series and with all 4 in there. So this is going to be great to see how she gets on. Oh, now we're down to Amanda Hunt, who apparently her nickname is, with her name A Hunt, her nickname is Hunter. And so good to be watching her. Now it looks like she's at the front of this C group. Now I'm not quite sure what's happened here. Maybe is there a split? Is this group perhaps split off the front?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, the view changed quite quickly then. I think that this is the front group. I'm not sure Hunt was in the front group then, actually. I thought she was riding about 27th, but if we see her here, I do apologise. Looks like there's 29 riders in total in the CCAT tonight. They look fairly tight. I'm not sure if those 2 groups have just come together now, but I don't think that's all 29 of them in the front group there.
No, indeed. And also great to see the range of different nations. If you're watching live, you can see the different flags coming up the side there. I've just seen USA. I've seen obviously Sweden. We've also seen South Africa. We've seen some riders from around the world up there. And also every now and then a flag turns up that you're not quite sure what country it's from, but they're representing their country in some form here today.
Yeah, and Niels, I'm not sure whether, I'm sure you are because we chatted about it today, but whether aware that these riders have now, this is their 3rd day of racing.
Crikey.
Yeah, and they had a really short time trial to start with on the Friday. Yesterday, the race was 28k, Mike? 28k?
That's right, just at 28.6, I think.
Sections, and then to do the 50k on top.
Oh, yesterday I watched actually. You did very well there. By the way, is it allowed to take to pick a certain country that you want to do very well here as a commentator or not?
No, you've got to stay neutral. You've got to stay
Oh,
neutral. But
okay.
you can pick one. You can pick one if you want.
Do you have something in mind?
No. Just in general. By the way, if you wonder why I'm not speaking that much, when I came home from my ride, I realized that my daughter broke my glasses. So I'm currently using the glasses of my wife. And I just realized they're not working that well on my eyes.
Not as clear. You just
and
need
the problem is,
News.
yeah, well, it's in our latest podcast, we spoke to Marty McDonald, who is a GCN and Eurosport commentator, and he said, like, say what you see. So I'm not seeing very well at the minute.
So you're stuck. So that one top tip we had, can't put it out there, Niels. We've got Keris. We're just watching Keris there. We did have a live stream from Keris, but we had some problems with the link today, so I'm not sure whether she is joining us. We'll try and get her if we can. Moving on to the D-Cats. Looks like a bit of a split. We're following a rider here who is in 9th place, 9 seconds off Naomi from Aeonian. So she can catch her and they can work together. Then there is a 30-second gap to that front group.
Yeah, and I think in that we've got is it? Yes, Emily Lefrancois. I think I hope I have pronounced that correctly. A Canadian rider coming out of Quebec, and now she's done loads and loads of riding, and she was interesting in terms of what she's seen is that she's seen quite a lot of older riders still riding competitions, and so she really sees that riding within Zwift and riding in competitions is the thing that will extend her life in the future, to be able to ride with people in that at that time. And the great thing is that she actually just in the information she shared with us, she said she's very much a morning person, and so riding on European based events is something that really suits her as well. So, and that's the lovely thing with Zwift, you can just pick any time of day that you want to ride, and there will be a race somewhere.
I think, yeah, so that's the great thing about it, actually. You can just race or go in a group ride, especially. It tends to be on the hour, though, sometimes. So if you miss your slot, I think yesterday I missed my 11 o'clock slot, and I thought, I'm going to have to wait till 12 now. Another rider that we have in here, Strong Rider Hirsch, she has been riding in Zwift since November 2020, so not that long either, actually, in lockdown 2, as we called it in the UK. An ex-rowing friend thought she might like it, and then she's been pretty consistent since. So she's managed a really good level of training, but she has done some Ironman distance triathlons in the real world. She said she's not that keen on hills, though, so not sure if she's looked at tonight's route, but...
Indeed, she might be just trying to follow somebody up that one, yeah. Well, it's great, actually, as we've gone through this, as we've got to know a little bit more about the riders and the people that are out there. We've got to see much more about the to learn. Actually, a lot of people have transferred their Zwift riding from other sports or using it to support other sports. So I think we've had everything from, we've got gymnasts, speed skaters, rowers, all sorts that people have just transferred over into this, because it's the competition it can give you and it's easy to access. So I think it's saying...
Do you know what I was about to say then? So just looking at these, I was thinking, is there a split? And I was like, blimey, there is one rider who is really far back. Oh, it's me.
Yeah. That's your fan view. That's your fan view. You're still in the pen. Jem, put the effort in, mate. Come on.
I'm sorry.
But look, we're back with the A+ again. I think, is that right? Yes. And you can see they're still sticking together in the same sort of group. I'm not sure if actually it does look like, I think they've perhaps dropped a rider or so here. Now, I think they will have, I'm not sure how close they are coming up to the, to the first sprint, actually, at 7.6K.
They've got a while, actually. I think it is at 15K. I just double-checked that for you. So I was thinking it was, just under 15K, so we can have a probably look around all of the groups before they get to that sprint point. Yeah, I think they've dropped one rider because there should be 7 of them, but I could only see 6 there. But we'll see if we can find out what happened.
So here we are back with the A's, and the A's do look like they've got a bit of a split here. They do look like they've got a slightly smaller group than perhaps when we first saw them, although it might just be the view on Zwift that I'm looking at. Actually, I think they might be on Birdcage Walk. Is that right?
Oh, well done. You might know London better than I do there, Mike.
Yeah. It was famous. Apparently, I can't remember which king it was, decided that he wanted birds in cages all the way down this particular road. And it became known as Birdcage Walk. And now the birdcage is long since gone, but the name stuck with it. So there we go. A little bit of history for everybody as well. Hey, say that makes it sound like one of those really professional Tour de France things. You know, when they do the history of the local area, things like that. Great.
Yeah, we could start coming on to that. I do know exactly where they are now, though. I have walked that bit many a times, and it's not exactly as it is in London. Slightly different, so it always confuses me. But I think when I spot what I think I'm going to spot on the left-hand side, I'll mention it.
Okay.
We've got Lawson here, following Lawson. She's strong rider. She's doing really well. I think she's sitting 10th or 11th in the GC at the moment. We've still got Vice up there in that top spot. Brewer.
Oh, Lawson. I think I know her. I think I follow her on Instagram.
That's right. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
That is the same one. And actually, looking at her power that she's been putting in, she was sticking at around, I was going to say, she was sticking around 180, 150, nice and comfy in the draft for her. But she's got huge amounts of power when she wants to turn it on. I was noticing in her training, actually, she's just coming up a training block of looking at high power, low RPM training, which can leave you with huge strength ready for either sprint or this climbs. So she's definitely one to watch for in this group.
I get a fan view for the B riders now. If not, we'll swap to the C category if we can find someone.
Yeah, you can see the riders at this point are all just trying to stick together. You don't want to get dropped at this point, but at the same time, knowing what this course is coming up with, and it's 50k, it's not the time to try and get a breakaway and try and make it stick with a group like this.
No, at this point, Mike usually asks me how I would fuel, how I'd be fueling. But since we have a third commentator tonight, I'm going to ask Niels. No need to see anything, Niels. How would you be fueling?
With food. Well, that's a good question. Like when we did the team time trial a couple of weeks back, every Thursday night, I actually almost fueled as if I was racing outside with even more water. Because, I was like taking gels and stuff and had like a gel ready. I was usually trying to take a gel like 20 minutes before the start and then 45 minutes later again. To keep me going. And for me personally, that worked very well. But then I'm not a benchmark because, let's face it, I'm not good.
How we can tell whether Niels is a benchmark for these riders or not is our cafe stop earlier. We visited a very famous bun stop in Windsor. And Niels and I both actually had a big cinnamon bun. I already knew about this and did not share mine, but Niels did share his. And he said it was so good that you could live in it.
No, sit in it.
Sit in it.
It was so good. Honestly, I was considering like buying a lot and then just fill my bathtub with it and sit in it. It's like really good. So I think it's actually a German saying. I think it's a German saying when you like something really a lot and it's really yummy, you say like, I could sit in it.
Okay.
Or maybe potentially, I'm not sure if it's a German saying or just from the area where I'm from or just maybe from my family. I'm not entirely sure, but something like that.
Well, I was going to say this group here, sorry to interrupt you, but coming back to the racing, I'm not sure how much cake is going to be eaten by riders, but these guys they've got a split here in the D cats as well. Quite a significant split as well. Looks like a couple of people might have just had a problem there, but in this group at the front, they've whittled themselves down to quite a small group already now.
Yeah, it was 5 of them. It's 5, 6 I can see here.
Yeah, so they've got now that's one of the challenges, of course, for the DCAT. You might have some riders who are right on the edge of the C category, and some that, in terms of FTP and that kind of stuff, pay out to weight, and some that not quite so close. And so you might just have these splits naturally. Or It could be that these guys have gone too quick, gone too fast, too early, and they'll blow up on the first climb. So who knows? Let's just see.
I always think it's really interesting in Zwift. We know that the riders are grouped by their some complicated sums, but basically their power or their power to weight. And to be a great rider within your category is really something quite special, because you're obviously doing very well within the limits and the power and the weight that you have, but you are still fighting away in your category just as everyone else is in their other categories, and I think it's absolutely incredible from all categories, in fact.
I would really enjoy seeing something like this in the real world, to be honest. Like, as some of our listeners might know, like I've done a couple of triathlons and stuff where you basically just get shifted from age group to age group, and obviously age is not really a benchmark in terms of like your performance. So I would love to see something like this in the real world, or even like in bike racing. I'm not sure how it is in other countries, but in the UK you have like you start in Cat 4 and then you have to move your way up. It's also not really dependent on your power.
The only challenge for you two would be, after the cafe stop today, those slices of cake that you had are the size of your own heads. Incidentally, I bought the cakes and brought them out. I couldn't believe, I thought they'd given me a whole cake, and you two managed to devour both of them. I think in that case, after a cafe stop, you'd have to change categories if we did have, like, where were you? I was a cat C on the way out, but I was a cat D on the way back. I mean, that would be more like it.
We've got Keris
talking about categories. I have a question.
Let's go. Yes.
Quick question for the category. So obviously it is a 3-day stage race. Can it happen that a rider changes category?
Yes.
In these 3 days.
It absolutely
yes, they can.
What do we do then?
They have to enter the category that's designated within their Zwift Power profile. They can obviously go in a higher category if they wish to. In this race, and it's starting to get more common in the races, they've created an A+ category, which is for any riders that Zwift category, Zwift Power assigns to over 4.2 watts per kilo. So it's kind of quite unique to this race, but I know that it's happening a lot more because the A category is just getting so large. If your category is upgraded on Zwift Power as a result of the stage performance, if it's on stage 1, you'll be requested to race in the upgraded category for 2 and 3. If the upgrade occurs in 2 or 3, then you can continue and race in the same category that you started in.
Oh, fantastic.
Look, we're all seeing somebody deploy the one of the power-ups. Somebody got the drafting one and using it correctly at the right time. Make sure you're in the draft before you drop that one. We did see somebody earlier on the flats using the featherweight, and I wasn't quite sure if they were just trying to just dump the power up, but obviously for featherweight, what you really want to do is to hold on to that, ready for those climbs. That's the time to do it.
Yeah, it's difficult to tell, actually. I can't remember how many power-ups they're going to get before they get to the climb. The climb is so long that the feather, it may help them on the escalators, actually. It might have been a good option on the escalators. But because it's so long, it lasts for a certain amount of time, you could maybe bridge a gap, or if you were really struggling, you could use it to kind of get back onto the group. So
I'll be honest, that's where I'd be using it. It would be just at the point where you're ready to stop your legs going round. I think I'd probably deploy it then. Although actually there is one area I do think is a potential for attack if you're experienced on this particular ride, which is if the top of Box Hill, as you come over the top of Box Hill, you finish the climb, you go through the QOM, and then you ride, and there is a final killer lump before you can then go into the descent. And again, that can be the place, because if you can get over the top of there and into the descent quickly, get yourself into your aero tuck, super tuck, you can really make a distance, really distance people behind you there, particularly on the last, just because it's coming up, the Box Hill comes towards the end of the race. That could be a place to attack. Now we're watching okay, I'm not even going to try that surname. Falsgraf.
Easy. No, it's Falsgraf.
Falsgraf. Thank you very much. I knew you were
easy.
here
We
for a
knew
reason.
there was a
Lewis.
reason you're here.
Yeah, yeah.
And
also,
also the proper pronunciation and the international accent.
It's it. And also with Mary Dutton. So we are having a slight challenge with the companion app at the moment, which is why we're staying with these guys again.
Yes, this is the B-Cat riders here. I can't. Oh, there we go. We're back.
And we're here with Freiburg as well. And Freiburg, brilliant. We've got the live cam as well, which is great to see. Now, as you can see there, she's got a nice, even tempo. Seems to be holding it pretty well at this stage. Also with her domestique in the background, off to make a cup of tea for her, obviously, by the look of it. But Freiburg looks like she's got nice, even pace. Her breathing looks really managed. And this is exactly where you want to be on the flat as you're going through London, coming up to the sprint.
Yeah, you've got a long way to go if you're a rider here. I think she's at 12.8k. My eyesight's got to be particularly good for that. You've got a long way to go. So you're just going to be managing your effort, settling in, making sure that you feel as good as can be, and try and sit in the draft where you can and just maintain. It's going to take, we mentioned it yesterday, it's going to take a lot of concentration from these riders for the 50k. That is a lot of screen watching, not only a lot of physical effort, but mental effort as well. And that can be tiring, very tiring.
And another one of the supreme Swedish Swift team. They're obviously a very experienced group, and I love that they ride in their team kit when they're at home and on the TV with us. That is great to see. But they're obviously an experienced group of riders and can draw on the experience of learning from each other. And you can see she's doing exactly that. She's just sticking quite well in that bunch, not spending any energy that she doesn't have to, and making sure that she's just ready for what happens. Now they're just coming round, and I think they're going to be coming into the mall soon. So they get the sprint. I
think we might stay here for the sprint, actually. This is the chances of us getting from one category to another and watching the sprint are slim. So I am saying we're going to stay here and watch the Sea Cats on this sprint.
Indeed. Now, Seaman there. Seaman is at the top of the table, I think, for this particular group. And it's going to be interesting to see who goes and when they go for these sprints. We've only seen in the last, not just in this race, but in our previous race coverage of the Warrior Game series, in the Iceni tour, we saw only one rider go for the sprint and manage to stick it, because, of course, you can use aero and you can use power-ups and you can hide and you can ghost. So we've only ever seen one rider go first and make it. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens as they're coming up here. So we're here with one of the cryogen riders riding from South Africa, which is great to see. We've got some of the Velo Vixen and another Sweden Zwift, rider up at the front in this group.
Yeah, we've got Longley as well from Velo Vixen, a popular rider. She does a lot of these races. We've commentated and I think had a live stream from her before. So I expect to see good things from her. Very experienced.
Yeah.
Do you get like special sprint points? Is there like a sprint classification as well?
So you'll get points for the sprint, and they're going to be coming up to it now. So whoever we're with, we're going to start seat now. Someone's riding off the front. That's the Swedish rider is up the front there.
Hey, Sverige.
Woohoo. Excellent. We can have international languages now that you're here now. This is good.
It's the only reason why I'm here.
So is it 15k? Oh no, it's the reverse, isn't it? So they're going to come down here.
Sprint. So
they're going to come around the bottom and then come back the other way, I think.
Very occasionally, just as we're watching the sprint, the fan view changes to like the head-on one, and you can't see when they're actually sprinting. This is the best view now. So if it stays like this, we'll be okay. We might just catch it. I don't think we haven't missed it. This always happens, doesn't it?
No. This is definitely. I'm pretty sure they haven't done it because they've just come onto them all before.
It's coming up now.
Here we are. Right. Yeah, this is it. This is where they're coming up. Now they do it reverse the first time, I think, and then they do it in the normal direction the second time. So look, you can see, they're starting to stretch out now. People are going for it. There you go. Off they go. So at the front, we've got Longley from Velo Vixen as making it stick. You can start to see all the deploying of either the aero or the following, and you can see then they're coming up to the line. Oh, look, someone's ghosted and just came out of nowhere. Brilliant. Oh, look at that. Over 10 watts per kilo. Who's gone through? Is that Skinner? I think there might be Skinner that's gone through there. Now, the question is, are they going to manage to keep going and cause a split within this group? So yeah, that was Skinner. I think made it through.
That would be a fantastic move, actually, right? It's the right time to basically cause a bit of a break.
Indeed.
Nice.
Yeah. So we in with the season. That's Rodriguez from Socks for Watts, a very popular race team in the Vellicino household.
Yeah, they have a lot of riders in Socks for Watts. They're doing very, very well. The women really support I'm sure they do in all teams, but really support each other. They race in the WTRL every week. So they've got some real experience and sort of depth in numbers as well. And it's great to see them entering this series.
Great. And I'm just trying to look down our list of riders that we've got there. Oh, Vickman is there, who we were covering yesterday live. It was great to see her. And we are still with the Sea Cats. Yes. And one of the Rave riders. Now, Rave have been great here. We've, I think, in the Cat C or Cat D, they've got the first 2 places, and obviously a really popular team. A number of people talking about how good the Rave community is, and how much they've enjoyed riding with that team. Even people that have just relatively new to riding in Zwift, absolutely loving the Rave community.
Yeah, I think that happens quite a lot. I'm not sure about the men's teams, obviously, because I'm not part of one of them. But certainly in the women's teams, there feels like a lot of camaraderie. It's probably the place that you'll see the most women come together to cycle. I know that there are in real life race teams and clubs, but I'm not sure they just have the numbers and the participation levels at the moment within clubs that Zwift has, and it does feel like a real community, whatever team you're in. And I know that the riders are really proud of the teams that they ride for. They stick with them, they support them, they promote them, and they really enjoy riding for them.
It's fantastic
Indeed.
to hear. It doesn't matter really, like if it's outside or inside, as long as you get more people on the bike. Even if you are predominantly like indoor rider, you might want to dip your toes eventually riding outdoors as well. And I think this is a good thing.
Yeah, I think that may happen, actually. We've been talking about it a little bit, and now that possibly, I know it's different in different parts of the world, that some of our restrictions are easing. I do believe that Zwift will continue to be as popular as it is now. It's just gone from strength to strength, and I don't think that's going anywhere. But it would be wonderful if not only do riders who came onto Zwift that started from nothing or very little cycling experience started in Zwift and then went on to riding outside and possibly with others within that same race team or with a community that they have locally, and just enjoyed their bike both inside and outside. I think it's only going to grow and improve, and you're going to see a lot more women cyclists both in Zwift and on the road. Or in the trails, on the trails.
Indeed. Well, let's just hope that we can make it as welcome and they can feel as much of the community when they're out on the real road as they can in Zwift. Interesting, actually. I think we've got. Did I see Redhead in here? Now, Redhead is one of the riders that I think has been promoted already through this session, and the information that she shared with us. Again, she's somebody who's relatively new, getting back into Zwift and riding on a bike in Zwift rather than in the real world. She's an ex-horse rider, but she says that the thing that always makes her go faster and what motivates her is the same thing for many of us, just having a rider in front. If someone's in front, she wants to chase them down and make sure she gets past them. So great to see. And within this group, we've got quite a fair bunch still. I'm not sure if the seas have thinned out at all, but a fair bunch in here.
It's a massive group.
It is. Now, at 18K, I'm just trying to remember if they're going to be coming up to the underground soon.
I will tell you, I think the underground, the next riser is at 23K, but it doesn't look particularly steep. That could be, there's another one at 28K. They don't come into the first climb until about 32, 33K. So I don't think they're there just yet, actually.
Ah, right. Yes, of course. Yeah. So, yeah, so the Sea Rider group, again, you can see that a lot of experience in this group in terms of the number of people with the Tron bike. For those of you who are new to Zwift, to get a Tron bike, you've got to climb, is it 50,000 meters in climbing? Is that right, Gemma? 50,000?
Oh, I don't know. A lot.
It's a lot of climbing. It means you've got to have been in Zwift for some time, or Everested, or something like that.
Yeah, not only do you have to select the appropriate challenge, which I think is always a challenge in itself when you join Zwift, because you don't know to do that. And then suddenly your mate tells you 6 months later that you should have selected that challenge and not the other one. You have to not even complete it. You have to go further than that to get it. So it's always, I think it's always a great day when you get your Tron bike.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. I still wait for that day. Now we're going back to the A cats. Now this group again, I'm not sure if we've got a split in the A's still. No, they're all still together. We're here with Katrina Weiss, who is at the head of this group here. For those of you joining us who didn't see the coverage yesterday, Katrina is actually one of the first users in Zwift. Her husband was a beta tester, convinced her to get involved with it. So she's been in Zwift since almost the first month that it ever started. In fact, when Zwift started, it was started globally in the Rafa store. So when they did their launch, they connected up all the Rafa stores from around the world, and people were able to compete in store, and that's how they launched it. So she will have been in there, I think it's 2014 she will have been in, and the graphics and everything would be very, very different. So yeah, a long time rider, and she's using that experience, and she's got herself certainly to the front of this the championship within the category, and she's, yep, you can see her there. She's making sure she's staying in the group, not wasting any energy on this flatter section.
No, well, I was originally thinking the riders weren't churning out a lot of power and they were just conserving it. But if you just pick one or even two riders, you'll see they are flitting between maybe like 2.5 watts per kilo, and you think, oh, they're not pushing out the power. And then suddenly that concentration kicks in. You know, they need to make sure that there are no gaps, and suddenly you see 4.5. So yeah, it's certainly not an easy ride for them.
No, certainly not. And also, you just do not want to be dropped from a group, because if you're on your own, Zwift does give you aerodynamics. We didn't see that in the time trial. That was turned off. But you do get an aero benefit, and you can, I think it's you can be churning out about 30% less effort if you're at sort of fourth or fifth wheel. Oh, now we're going to our live stream, which is great. So we've got Beauville here. There we go. Now that looks more like my kind of setup in the garage, lots of stuff around her. That's good. But look, a nice even pace again, good even breathing. She's, yeah, this looks like a lady who is in control of her race.
Yeah, she looks good there. I'd be saying she's really conserving her power, which is great, and her energy. She looks really, really good.
I'm just trying to remember where Beauville was in the standings. I'm sure she was near the top.
Yeah, I'm going to have a look for you, actually.
Yeah. I'm just desperately, quickly trying to look through my note to make sure that I get where she is.
She is. We should have this information. Oh, she's. I tell you why. She's first in the A+.
There we go. Yeah. So this. Yeah. I knew that name sounded familiar. Oh yeah, she's winning everything. Yes, that would be what she is. Yeah. So she's riding for Cyrus and TPC. Obviously, very experienced rider to be in that A+ category. And again, yeah, looks like somebody very much in control. It's going to be great to see how she attacks the climbs, whether she gets out of the saddle, whether she decides to stay in the saddle and spin up and just make sure that she sticks with the group that are around her, or where she's going to decide to attack. But yeah, absolutely looks like somebody very well in control of her race.
Yeah, Canadian rider, based obviously in Canada. I think she is at the moment. She's a surgeon, mum of 2 kids.
What? So she's this good at riding, and she's a surgeon, and she's a great mum as well. Oh, do you know what? I hate her already. I hate her. I'm joking. She's obviously multi-talented. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, she says that COVID scuppered her in real life late bloomer UCI racing career, but she's found some new solace and form team joy in virtual racing and Zwift and riding for Saracen, the pros closet. I expect she's getting a lot of racing there. I can see she's been doing a lot of the Tour of Watopia stages, the group rides. She rode here with Warrior Games in the Iceni Women's Series as well.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, so certainly one of the elite athletes, and
It's so good to see, like, especially when you have like a life where you have to multitask and you have like so many different lives in your life. I think Zwift is another really, really good way of finding your time to exercise and to race. And as we mentioned before, Zwift is here to stay, right? And Zwift is like its own cycling discipline. So it's just really good to see that you can race now and also perform really well in what you're training for. Fantastic.
Yeah, we were talking about it on our ride today, actually, and I introduced some of the guys to Zwift a few months ago, and they weren't all super keen at the start. They got into it, and they've been doing really well. They've been doing the time trials. I'm not quite sure whether they prefer making the posters or racing in the time trial, but either way, the enthusiasm is there and it's up. But Zwift is, or any riding indoors, it's a really time efficient way to do your training. Often if you've got, as Neil said, actually other life things going on, and that's sometimes what draws people to it as well. You know, you've not got a lot of time to get out the house. Maybe you've got kids that you can leave for a little while, but not, you know, you can't go on a 3-hour ride. You're going to jump on your bike and Zwift. And now that there's that community around and the ability to race or work out or do a group ride or just take it easy, the opportunities are really there. And even for the guys that self-confess to love riding outside, guys and women, they're still using Zwift day in and day out because it's there and it's convenient and it's a great way to train and race.
It really is. It really is. And I have to confess, as one of the people that I'm more of a mountain biker, but by using Zwift, it's made a massive difference in my training. Far more efficient. You just get yourself into the power zone that you want. Don't have to stop at traffic lights. Don't have to find the right kind of hill to do hill repeats on. It's all a very, very efficient way to train. And we're looking at the result of this training with this group here. So we're cut now to, which group are we at?
This is still the BCAT,
Sani.
and this is the Sani live
Brilliant.
cam from Sani there. You can see she's got a lot of water,
It's
which
the
is
biggest bottle I've ever seen in my life. Or is it just because of the perspective?
I think it might be the perspective, but yes, good point. This is a 50k race, and it's warm. Whether you're in a warm country or it's a warm day or not, you are going to be hot on the bike. There's no air coming to you. Most people have got a fan now, so that really helps. But you're going to be hot, and you'll be going through a lot of fuel and a lot of hydration as well. Often you see riders with lots of drink bottles around them, and that's great. They need those.
There's a question for me to you, Gemma, actually. So basically, in racing in the real world, like outside, you get an idea from the riders around you, like if they're strong, if they are, like, you know, like how much more do they have to give? Well, about on Zwift, you don't really see that. Like how, because you don't see them face to face, you don't see them right next to you, you don't feel them around you, if that makes sense.
Yes.
How do you know?
It's a good point, Niels. In real life racing, you do gauge a lot from other riders. As you said, whether they're feeling strong, how technically they can ride the course, you know, whether they're feeling nervous or they're going to take a certain bend or a hill. You learn a lot from them. You can gauge a little bit from Zwift. You might get some riders that sort of put up a kick if they go up a slight incline and you think, oh, you know, they're looking good for the next hill. But I'm not sure you really ever know. You may have some previous experience of racing with them, which is great. You know, we're seeing these women time and time again. It's likely that they would have raced each other, which is probably the only insight they'll have to how each other are doing.
And sometimes if you've raced, I'm sure, against each other, you know roughly what their power output can be. We can see here actually with Sani, she's got a relatively, her RPM at 95, 96. She's obviously somebody that uses a bit of a slightly higher cadence because she's doing that within this B category. And at 3.1 watts per kilo, we're kind of on the sort of, you're in the borderline between C and B. So these guys are, they're not taking it easy. They're certainly kicking out the a good level of power as they're coming through this flat bit. And it might be that they're just trying to tire each other out a bit. But as you were just saying, really hard to know if you're tiring somebody out or if they're breathing easy. But we will see.
Yeah, as suspected, to give you an update on where these guys are on the course. So the A's are actually in front. They're about 27k. So they've done a few little rises, but they haven't come to the main climb yet, the main Fox Hill. The A plus are sitting behind them purely because there are less riders, so the draft effect is less. They can't travel as quickly. The
Bs are at 28k at the moment.
The Bs actually are travelling possibly ever so slightly quicker than the A's. There must be even more of them. There is, isn't there? There's more of them in this front group. So, they're powering through here, and the B's may hit that climb just before. The C category riders about 24k in, and the head of the race and the D cat 21k.
Oh, and we've got someone off the front there. Is that? Oh no, that's the one of the riders.
Oh, it did look like it.
Yeah, it looked like maybe one of the riders.
Backus. It's Charlotte Backus from 2024.
It is, yeah. So a couple of them are coming out, stretched it a little bit here then. Trying to stretch the group maybe. There's two of them. Maybe if they can work together a little bit, that'll help them. But these riders might be thinking we're not as confident on the climbs, and so we're going to make a push for it here.
Yeah, Bacchus is a really experienced rider. She's been Zwifting and racing a long time now. So it is potential that this is a move, and she is really going for it here. And she's got one rider with her, Court with her. If they can push this out before the climb, they might have a chance of staying away. I mean, it's really early to tell, especially with such a big group behind them. But I think this is that they are breaking away. It's not just happened by accident, and they've got 4 seconds already.
Yeah, and I think there's a little bit of Zwift knowledge there, because they did it on that little rise as you come out of the underpass when you're on Zwift, and you just come up, and that sometimes that kick up. One thing in Zwift, you can't always tell by looking at the screen how steep the lip is going to be as you're coming towards it, but they obviously had an idea, because it does kick up to about 6%, so they seem to have attacked at that point. But look at that gap that they've driven there already, so they're already making 4 or 5 seconds on the group behind them. It's going to be interesting to see if they manage to keep this together. So 29.7k, I'm pretty sure they are coming up to the underground section, which will take them through.
Yeah, it's a shame for Court actually, because one of the rules of this particular series is that the riders have to have a heart rate monitor. I can't see hers there. Obviously, things can go wrong, and they could not pair, but she can't be included in the results if she hasn't got her heart rate monitor on. She may know this. I don't know, but that's just to give you an idea. I wanted to see what her heart rate was.
You know what? We've all been there. If you've done any Zwift racing, just as you're trying to start, you can absolutely guarantee if you're planning for a big race, that's the point at which your heart rate monitor won't talk to your laptop, computer, whatever you use, or your trainer will decide not to pair.
Yes, like an in real life puncture, isn't it?
Exactly. It's exactly the same in life, real life. You get a puncture, you can't keep going. So
yeah, the kids are on the Xbox, and you cut the internet connection's cut. And that's it. Your race is over.
Absolutely. And interestingly, just on the topic of technology, I'd like to say a big thank you to our technology expert who's in the background, David, who's running all this for us in the background. After the last time trial, we were saying about what a big effort is, and he put his hand up and said he'd rather have ridden it than tried to manage all the technology in the background. So a massive thank you to David, because we do appreciate he's trying to operate several different moving pieces of equipment at the same time.
Yeah, you think that these riders have got a good setup in their garage. Wait till you see David's tech setup. I haven't seen it, and I'm not sure we ever will, but I can imagine lots of computers on the go.
Indeed. So we're back with Katrina here in the A category, and as we said, as a smaller group, they were not going to be moving as fast as the others. Now that might have a potential impact for the GC, but they're only going to be competing within their own category. So hopefully
I wanted to see how many of these riders we've got. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6. Possibly. Oh no, there looks more than 7 in this group, doesn't there? That's already. She's 12. She's sitting in 12. I don't think all 17 of them are together, but we can't
Can't tell if
see
they're at the
enough.
front.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tricky, isn't it?
Well, this group all seem to be riding, and here we go into the underground. So let's stick with this group for the underground. Now, I mentioned in the opening when we looked at the course, this escalator part here. Now, they're coming down it, obviously in this direction. When you come back in to London, this is a real kicker. It's about 15%, as I said, as you go up there. So when you're riding and you're coming in, because it's close to the finish, that could be if it catches somebody out, because you don't really see it coming. If it catches somebody out, that could be where we see a split and somebody's then sprint off the front to go for the finish. Now they're riding through. I love this bit in Swift. The fact that they get to ride through the underground, and it supposedly transports them from the centre of London out into Surrey and to the, first of all, Fox Hill.
Yeah, they're going to hit Fox Hill straight away. Just going back to your point on the escalators, Mike, obviously these riders have ridden Zwift and all the worlds lots of times, but it is possible that they have been out on this course specifically and tested elements like the escalators, because if you get your gearing wrong, I know we talked about that, I think yesterday, you know, you've lost seconds and then the group's gone. So if you're a rider, just like in real life, you're going to recce the important parts of the course. You probably won't ride the whole 50k, but if there's any parts that you think that either you're going to have a problem with or you could have an advantage on the other riders, you'll specifically go out and ride those and check your gearing and write notes. These ladies may potentially have notes in front of them. They don't know all the courses that well that they have them off by heart. They'll know where the kicks are. They'll know if there's a chance for them to break away. They'll have it written down. I suppose that's another advantage of being inside. You can have everything right in front of you. No masking tape on your handlebars today.
Yeah, also like on big paper, right? Like A4 or something, not just on a little teeny tiny sticky note.
Yeah, or a flip chart.
Flip chart. That's the way to go. Yeah, and we can see actually Lawson here, Lala Lawson. She's up to RPM to just over 90, and I'm not sure if she was just trying to cover an attack or push people a little bit. But you can see now as we get to the first hill, if your plan of attack was to attack on the hills, this is where we'll start to see people stretch out. And you could see, look, you can see little burst of up to 300 and something odd watts. So there's a little burst here, and you can see the group start to stretch out as those at the front are now trying to attack. We've got one person just at the back, just dropping a tiny amount, but you can see at the front, the pace is really heated up.
Yeah, so
7%.
this,
Wow.
yeah, it's getting a lot. So this Fox Hill segment, I think it's 2.5K, I believe. I'll just have a look actually. 2.4K, with an average gradient of 4.9%. So it evens out in places. It's really steep now at that 9%, but an average gradient of 4.9%.
Yeah, I couldn't quite see the front. I think at the front it might be Monks is right up there at the front, pulling this group up here. But here, look, we've just got into the 11% part. People are going to be
it's Monks.
Yeah, there we go.
There.
We've got some of the people straight out of the Monks is out of the saddle and just trying to power up this section. So Gemma, on a race like this, when you've got two big hills and the sections in the middle, would they be trying to make a break here, or is this just about trying to tire out your competitors?
Tricky actually in this category, because there are not so many riders. If you do manage to get away either by yourself, or if you can try and drag another rider or two with you, it might be worth it, because you haven't got such a big bunch chasing you behind. You know, if you've got a lot of riders chasing, they're going to catch up to you so quickly. It's probably not worth it. You've got to make a big gap. But this is a smaller group that may have had an influence on these women's tactics for today as well. Because of that smaller group, they will know how many riders they were competing against. They will, if they have really done their research between yesterday and today, then they will know how many they're competing for, you know, in the GC as well. And another thing to go on their flip chart is who am I competing for in the GC and who is just riding this evening that I do need to worry about, but not as much. I wish we could see that. We need a rider as a flip chart. Request for next time.
Yeah, we'll do that next time. We've got, I think in this group, we've got one of the Watty Link riders there from the USA. Although it's just got Watty Link, I think that might be Megan Granich from Watty Link, who spends her time trying to avoid getting hit by cars in Los Angeles when she's riding in the real world. But she's gone from 0 racing experience to a women's category rider in just over a few months of last year. So she's somebody who must be bringing some of those natural athletic talent from somewhere else into it, into what we've got here, particularly if she's up in this A group and keeping with this pace. Yeah, and actually you can see her there. She was chucking out somewhere in the region of sort of 6 watts. Yeah, 6 watts per kilo as they're trying to make it up this hill.
Yeah, that's massive power. This is going to take a fair amount from them, actually. They are going to have to possibly take on some fuel when they've got over and this hill. The only thing that is going to save them is that super tuck. I can't remember how many minutes they're going to be super tucking for. There is one of them actually where you can't quite get into it, or you get into it for a bit, but you really got to keep an eye on things because then you're going to come out of it.
Yeah. So yeah, again, really, really pushing themselves and each other in this place, coming up this hill, though probably with one eye on the fact that they've still got another 16k to go, a sprint and 2 big hills, so as well as going to leave something for the finish. So great to be watching.
Super interesting to see like that, how consistent they are, like over the flats, but also on the climbs. You would usually expect when it comes to a climb that the field basically rips apart slightly, but nothing here, right? They stick really, really close to each other, which is really good to see. Fantastic. I wonder, is this like something also specific to Zwift that, or do you have like climbing experts on Zwift, like in a real world?
Yeah, you do, because Zwift is based on the rider's weight. So that will be input to this, and it will have an effect on not how well they climb, that's up to you, and how great a climber you are. But if you are lighter, potentially you could go up the hill faster and you'll be slightly slower on the flats. But there's so many other things involved that, you could be a great climber. You don't necessarily have to be light. So it's not necessarily the case where there's not a split and they'd stay together. It may just be because this is the first hill of 2. And if it was me, I don't know if I'd want to make a break. Yeah, you got to be pretty brave.
I think we saw Brewer there just deploy the feather and just maybe because of the feather edge ahead by a second or so
second
there.
Yeah, there they are. We'll see if we can get a sight on them.
But I think actually that might have just been the fact that she deployed the feather and kept up the same power rather than necessarily trying to make a break for it. But
it could be that she was really feeling it, as we said before, and she just thought, you know what, I'm going to go with the feather.
It's where I go with the feather every time. Yeah. So they're up to this 10% part. So they're just coming to the top of Fox Hill. Then it's a little bit lumpy, and then you get straight into that downhill section. Very hard to go faster. Is that right, Gemma? And is the Super Tuck the best option?
Yeah, so Super Tuck, I believe, is equivalent to about 2 watts per kilo in riding. Now, I think I haven't tested this out enough, so I'm not sure. We missed the top of this actually. We didn't get a very good view of that. But the Super Tuck is often not as quick. You can pedal quicker. And I've often been overtaken by other riders when I've been in Super Tuck and they haven't. But, they're all going to be just really wanting to get their breath back, get some feeling back in their legs. And I think that if you see one Super Tuck, you're all going to go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah, I think, if I see my competitor Super Tucking, it's probably the one time where you can see how your competitors are doing. And look, another one of the feathers being deployed there. Is that going to be an attack? No, I think it's just people. Oh, maybe
yes, because there's the QOM. Yeah.
Of course, because of QOM. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, so Brewer just took
that was really smart, wasn't it? Wow.
Yeah. Well, Brewer didn't have it. She'd already used her Super Tuck earlier on. So, sorry, her feather, and but she still managed to push in that extra effort, and a couple of the others there deploying them at the right time. So I have to say, actually, I think it's Timewell, the rider that we're watching now, that really used that at the right time. So I'm just wondering, so this is the A category. I think we're going to move to another category again soon, just to see how they get up.
Actually, We're just scrolling through.
Oh, we've gone back to Gemma. This is where, for those of you who wonder how we follow people, you have to have someone in the race to then follow them. So Gemma is still back there in the
Doing nothing.
pen, waiting to start. Here we are. This is the A plus, and we're with Beauville again.
Yeah,
running out.
Beauville, very close to. Is it? Niels, need your help. Although you can't see it
Kagstrom.
No, I think it was Kackström.
from
Kagstrom.
Swedish Swifters. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think they're just coming up to the top of what we've just seen before. Yeah.
Oh, so we can catch this. This is good. Yeah, they actually have quite a big gap. So they've got 12 seconds on the fourth rider down.
Yeah, which is a pretty impressive gap within this kind of group. So they've obviously, somebody's been perhaps found it a little bit harder as the pace is up and up and up. So look, they're coming up to the top now. We'll wait and see if there's a feather. Yep, they're keeping nice behind that person, the lead rider. So
just in case you think you're seeing the same rider again, they're Brewer. There's two of them, the Brewer sisters. I believe in this category it is Leah.
Oh, there she goes. Look.
Oh, sorry.
Hagstrom's across. Now let's just see who gets out of these two. Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Sorry, I thought, yeah, and we'll just see who comes in next. So Beauville got it. Beauville managed to keep ahead.
Oh, brilliant.
And came round, I think. Beauville must have come round Acre. So, or Arca.
They definitely close a gap now. So 1 second, you can see the first rider just ahead of them.
Yeah, so Kagstrom's obviously got through and then just taken a break. But as we can see here, Beauville is obviously thinking, right, let's try and keep this pace up a little bit. And she's perhaps trying to see if she's, as we all know, as a rider, if you can get to the top of a climb and then just keep going, it's not only is it a tremendous skill to have as a rider, it's so intimidating to your competitors. If someone comes over the hill, doesn't need to take a break and just keeps powering on. That's
crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe the Swedish racer also just went for the sprint in the climbing classification, as it seems, right? That could also be a possibility. Although, no, she's actually going all in now.
Here we go. Aero tuck. Look at that already.
Yeah, so although they get points for the climb and the sprint, it goes towards the GC. Oh, there we go. Look at Esther there. She's getting Esther, that break in. So these three riders. So Esther at the moment in the GC is in first place. Marina is in second, and Kagstrom is in fourth place. So they are competing for the GC. These three riders are in the GC.
And also just a reminder to any fans, if you would like to post any comments or anything in the chat, if you're one of the domestiques, just post in the chat as well. Let us know how your particular rider is getting on.
Yeah, our racer here from Argentina just got a call out in the comment section. Vamos, Mari, dale con todo. I don't know if it pronounced it correctly, and I have no idea what it means, but I think it means like.
I thought you were about to translate.
Sounded like
this.
You really did, yeah.
Yeah, did it sound professional? Oh, fantastic! Yeah, well, I believe it means like, let's go, or something.
Yeah, let's face it. It probably means some words of encouragement. It doesn't say like,
get those commentators off.
Yeah. Stop it, you're rubbish. Get off. Yeah. Well, although I think the next message down from Mike Hadgkiss, who is the birthday boy, in fact, today, I think that was his comment was, you're rubbish, get off. But there we go. Unfortunately, you just need to turn us off if you don't need to hear.
I pronounced it correctly.
Yeah, we've had a message back to say it says, give it your all.
Give it your all, Mari. Brilliant. So, and here we are at the top of this race. They're coming down the hill. You can see that they're still in their aero tuck. It's just, but as a group of three now in the front of this A plus.
Yeah, I mean, they've got 20 seconds now on the two. Unfortunately, it's only two riders behind them. So three of them, if they keep working together, at this point, they probably won't want to separate from each other. They want to just race as quickly as possible or move as quickly as possible to stay away, and then maybe try and make a break between the three of them on the second hill. So it'd be really interesting to watch on the second hill.
Absolutely. So we're also seeing on the chat, yes, the birthday boy was just commenting that he wasn't telling us we were rubbish and we should get off. That was simply that. He was just sending words of encouragement. Now, they're coming back into London through the underground. Now, as you said, as a group of three now at this point in the race, they are coming back into London for a few K. They've got the sprint within London, and then they're back out again onto Box Hill. So at this point, it probably is about consolidating this, keeping together, sticking as a three. And we can see our rider is out of the saddle, powering in here. And let's just see now what happens.
Probably selected a big gear because she is about to hit the escalator.
Yep, and there we go. Look at that extra effort, rocking side to side, but in such an even way. I wish I looked that good when I was riding, by the way. She looks absolutely brilliant. Straight into the saddle, so smooth. Yeah, no problem at all. And back into the race. Keeping there at third wheel as well, making sure she's not using too much energy. Brilliant.
Yeah, it was good to see them climbing up there. Actually, we're going to try and swap over to the C category if we can, or back in the pen, but then we'll go on to the C. It's always good to check me out, check I'm still in the pen and doing as I'm told there.
Yep, there she is.
That's not me. It's not always me. Sometimes
that wasn't you. That
Carla.
time,
we're on Lawson now. So I think this means that Lawson has been.
No.
Well, she's either ahead or she's been dropped. Oh, she's 12th. So I think she's been dropped off the group. Possible when they've come over the climb and they're back out onto the flat now. So I can't quite see what the gap is.
It's very tricky within Zwift, of course, because sometimes the reason why riders fall off is because of pace and it's because of what's happening in front of them. Occasionally, it's simply because technical errors at home, broadband width fails, other sorts of problems as well. I know we had a technical error yesterday because a cat started a video feed. So it's all of these sorts of things can add up in the real life of racing.
Yeah, I feel that this category is split quite a bit now. I believe that the riders in the front of this category are 33 seconds ahead on Tilburn and Hansen. And then you've got Lawson, who is another minute back. Oh, Weiss there as well is also back. There. Yeah.
Now that's a bit of a shock because these two were at the top of the GC for this group coming into this race. And so bit of a shock that they've dropped a little bit there. Now, it might just be about pacing. Maybe the guys ahead have gone a little bit faster than they should be, and maybe they'll catch up on the second hill. But yeah, this is probably a bit of a worrying time. They've got to make that call. What do? Do they expend extra energy trying to catch this group on the flat, or do they wait for the hill and hopefully catch them there?
Yeah, there's a sprint coming up, 42, just over 42K. So we're going to stay with these guys for the sprint if we can. Just filtering through the A's now. This is the lead group in the A's. There are 7 of them.
Yep. Actually, I tell you what, with the pace that they've put on, obviously to not have Tilburn and Weiss in there, who are very, very strong riders. I'm surprised that lead group is quite so big. To have a group of 7 in there, that little bit stronger. Now we're coming into the sprint, doing the sprint not in the reverse, in the correct route, and in they come. Now again, this is one of those sprints where you're going to be waiting to see what power ups they've got, see when they deploy them. We discovered recently, actually, that if you do deploy the aero, you've got about 250 meters before it finally gives up. So timing that aero to get you across the line can change the outcome. And look, actually, they're spread out a little bit here, coming down. Who's out the front? Yeah, one of the Evo riders at the front, and then one of the right. Look at that, off the front. Brilliant. Being chased now by Timewell. And then you see them deploying the aero. Oh, brilliant. Now, I'm not sure who got that second place.
Oh, that was close. That was fantastic to see.
That second place timing of deploying that aero was brilliant. I think that was very unlucky not to get first.
Yeah, and she still may have had it because this sprint is fastest sprint rather than first over the line. So if she, we don't know exactly, but that she may have got it, especially as she pulled the arrow out, even though it didn't look like she came over the line first. So that'll be interesting to see. And these two are competing for. We've got three
And
of
you
them
can see,
here.
Tilburn was whacking up into the. Now we've got another group coming through. And I think actually this is where we've got the Bs coming through the As maybe, or one of the groups round.
Yes, they can't see each other in the different categories. This is still the A category. And of course, as we're seeing here, even though Tilburn is by herself, I believe, yes, she's still going for the sprint because she could still get fastest over the line.
Yeah, now Tilburn seems to have got another 10, 14 seconds now on Vice. So Tilburn's desire to go for the sprint there and get those extra points has actually pushed her up into a gap there. Now, the question is, sometimes you can find yourself in a race in almost no man's land, where you've got enough pace to match the group in front without joining them. But unfortunately, you're probably chucking out a whole load more energy. So Tilburn now might be having to make have that choice. Does she push on and try and join the group ahead, or does she wait for the group behind to catch up so that she's got more than one in the group? She's got someone to work with, basically.
What's the difference? It's 40 seconds, right? Roughly. Did I see that right?
14.
Apologies,
I think between. So it's 14 seconds. It was 14
Yes,
seconds between Tilburn and Vice, and I think Tilburn was finding herself in a bit of no man's land. So with the
Let's
D
put a bet on
category,
it. I'm pretty sure she will go for it. She will go for it.
Okay. I will bet you a cinnamon bun that I will bet that she holds back, and you bet that she'll go on. So when we get back to the A's, we will see. Come on, Tilburn, hold it back.
I'm not sure that I can take another ride to Windsor to get the cinnamon bun that you've now invested into this bet.
It's okay.
We'll drive.
We'll try. Yeah. We'll drive there. Right now, we're into the D category, and they're going to be coming up to the top now of the of Fox Hill, and we've got a couple of them just coming up here. And now I think when we saw in the D category, we did see quite a big split between the different groups. And you can see one of the Rave riders, right?
Yeah, so this Rave rider at the moment is Sarah. She is sitting in third in the GC, but she's really going for this up here, and she's got 20 seconds on this hill. So I'd say it's very unlikely. I won't even bet you a cinnamon bun that she is going to hit that QOM first of all, and really rack up the points, which is great. And then the two riders behind her. Oh no,
She's
just
zooming.
Hursk actually.
Crazy.
Just Hursk is in the lead at the moment in the GC, and the other rider I can't see is in the GC at all. So although Hursk will be using her to pace her up the hill, as far as I'm aware, she's not. Oh no, she is. Sorry, Molly. Completely, you are. She is. So Molly is fourth in the GC at the moment. So certainly her and Hursk will be going for it and competing for those points.
Yeah. Interesting challenge here, actually, because people can get promoted. So Sarah, is it Sarah here?
Yes.
Sarah is going to be at the front, but and doing very well. But there's a danger, actually. She may accidentally promote herself up into the CCAT and then find herself in a different group. But either way, let's face it, as cyclists, you can't think about all of that. What you can think about is pedal as hard as you can and get to the front of the race as quickly as possible. But yeah, so we've got great things happening in the D category. The competition across the groups is really, really great to see.
Yeah, I'm just checking out to see where the rest of the riders are on the course.
And here's Hirsch. Out of the saddle there. It looks like Hirsch is thinking about it, thinking about seeing if she can nab that top of the mountain. Look, so we're seeing
3 seconds. So Molly's taken 3-4 seconds off her. I think that's going to be difficult.
She has. Molly went first, didn't she? Look at that. Molly had that one covered. Yep, a preemptive strike there. Where's Molly gone? There you go. She's in there. We thought she disappeared for a second there, but it looks like she's going to get the points. Versus Hirsch.
They still get lots of points, which is good. So they're doing really well.
Yeah, so it's the first 15, isn't it? 10.
10.
10 across.
Because
but
we
you
were
get
talking
15.
about
Yeah,
we were
you get
talking about in
15
real
points.
life.
Yeah, you get 15 points for going across, but it's first 10 across there. And Sarah now on the descent, I'm thinking.
Yeah, she's going to hit that descent and get into a
She is
super tuck.
flying. Absolutely fantastic. She's flying. Crazy.
Yeah. You can see her taking a little bit of a break now compared to what she was putting out. She got down, dropped the watts per kilo just a small amount. Obviously having a breather, which if she can see the screen and see the kind of gap that she's got of 20 seconds, she should be getting herself into the super tuck, recovering a bit, grabbing a drink, and then getting ready for the next section.
Yeah, so just an update on where the riders are on the course, if I've got that for you. So let me just refresh my page here. Sorry, I should have been a lot smoother there. Oh, yes, right. So the A's, as predicted, are fairly far ahead. They're now at 46K. So they're going to hit the second climb just after that, actually, at 47K. So we've not got long to that second climb, actually. And then the race finishes at the top of that. So we won't want to miss that. The B's are then behind 45K, only a K behind. The A plus category slightly behind them, 45K. B's at 40K, a while to go. And as we've just seen, the D's are at 34K. They've just climbed over that. So we'll see if we can find the A riders because we want to follow them. But the B's will do.
Yeah, and I think we've got
riders.
We've got Sani, a live rider for today. You can see her in this group as well. And there's someone just going off the front there. We're with, is that Bacchus? Yes.
Yeah, Charlotte Bacchus. Yeah.
Charlotte Bacchus. So, yeah, you can see, perhaps, is she putting in an attack here? No, not with those.
Yeah, we thought she was, but actually, so Bacchus was with Court earlier, and look how much Court has taken out, 1 minute 24.
Yeah.
So Bacchus won't be able to tell that Court doesn't have her heart rate monitor on. When she was on screen, we couldn't see it, so we don't think she'll be included in the results. But obviously, we don't know that for sure, but it's possible. But whatever, she's got a big lead of 1 minute 25, and it looks like Bacchus has come back into this group.
Yeah, and you could see that Bacchus there had obviously made that decision to fall back into this group rather than try and push it on her own. You could see that she was just slowing as they were coming in, and then now she's stuck with the group. So, yeah, obviously just thinking about the tactics and the longer game here, which is to stick within this, get back through London, and then make another attack, perhaps on Box Hill.
Yeah, it's going to be that last climb. There are some sprint points. We might be able to stay with these guys for the sprint, because a reminder that the sprint in the middle of the two climbs is at 42K.
I think these guys are coming out for the second time. Yes, these are out for the second time. So perhaps I'm just wondering if we've got any of the A's. I'm not quite sure how far ahead they will be then. They might be coming over.
Just looking at the A's, they're definitely going to be climbing Box Hill. We're hoping not in too much of a rush so that we can get to them for the finish.
Yeah. So viewers, trying to judge when somebody is at the finish is very, very tricky,
as we've discovered. Have we seen any of the finishes yet, Mike?
Yes, we did. We saw
Johnson, but didn't we only
saw Jordan? We only
saw her. Yes, brilliant.
Yeah. We saw Jordan Johnson 4 races ago. Was the only time we managed to actually catch the finish because of, unfortunately, due to the technical difficulty in doing so. I mean, yes. So we're with the B still now. In fact, watching and coverage is very similar to our rides. Today we had a small group of us heading out on a ride. We all had the map and everyone had the route. Some of us, half of us had the route on our computers, and most of us knew the route to go. And in just a small group, we had 3 splits, and people ended up all over the place. So just like commentary, we didn't know quite where everybody was. We weren't quite sure where the finish was going to actually happen. But
we
there
did. Hang on. We did arrive at the cafe all exactly the same time.
We did. We found the cinnamon buns at exactly the same time.
Yeah. The only thing was, and I've got to say this, I did more miles to get there.
You did. Now we're back with Sani. So
Sani now,
Sunny's in the B category. And yeah, you can see compared to earlier, we had quite a high cadence from her. And now much lower cadence. You can tell that we're coming towards the end of this race. This is going to be, she's concentrating, she's maintaining a pace. Her breathing still looks good.
Yeah, she looks really good. I can't see her heart rate because it's 178. Oh, God, I have good eyes for that. Yeah, she's looking good. So they're going to be, these women are going to be thinking about now, what can I do? What can I do on the climb? Have I got anything left? When am I going to potentially do it? And is it just going to be a kick right at the very end, or are we going to make a move before then?
That's right. So she seems to be managing her effort still without the within her category. I mean, there's some big numbers going in there at a fairly low RPM. So she's doing a great job of matching what's going on around her and sticking with this group. Great managing the effort as she's coming up onto the, I think she's actually on Box Hill, isn't she now?
Yeah, they definitely are. She is at 45k, is that?
I think it's 49.2.
He's got the best eyes.
I've just got the biggest screen.
Oh, good point. We are just waiting to switch category and switch screens, and then we'll be able to see.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to see. If we have a look at the Zwift feed now and have a look at that. And then we can look into the, we'll move on to the A soon to see how they go. Thank you very much, David, for that switch. And you can see Sunny here.
Yeah, so in this group, let me think. So you've got Court, she's off the front, well ahead now. She's probably going to take the win in this B category, heart rate monitor dependent. But if not, we've got 6 riders here. Looks like more than 6. No, 6 riders here. Well, they're already probably at their limits. Although Sunny looks pretty calm there, actually, considering they've ridden already there's an hour 15 now. They've ridden it for a long time. They're on that second climb. I don't know if they're going to be brave enough to make a move at any point or just kick it up right at the very end. And obviously they could have that important power up as well.
Yeah. Yes. So what power up would you be hoping you'd got at this stage, Jem?
Feather, all the way.
Feather.
I mean, if you don't have a feather and you have something else, you might give it a whirl. Especially if it, if you had, you might have the ghost, actually. Forgot about the ghost.
Yeah, ghost might be one to deploy.
Yeah, the ghost would, the ghost doesn't give you the advantage of the feather, but if you could use the ghost slightly before you think that people might deploy their power-ups, you might just get a little bit of an advantage. I've never had a ghost or been in a position where I can go with that. And like we said, not only they're using physical energy, the mental energy to manage this is massive. So we're all thinking about this exact tactic that you can use at 250 meters before the top. You know what it's like when you're actually in Zwift.
Yeah, when you're on the edge, you're hot, you're sweaty. And you hit that, and you
drop your phone.
You drop your phone, and even if you don't drop your phone, you can't quite get the power up to work when you want to, and find yourself stabbing at it. So it's very tricky. But look, this group are putting in some tremendous effort up Box Hill, and they're going to be coming to the top. It's going to be interesting to see if we get a bit of a sprint. Now they must be coming towards the QOM, I think.
Yeah, so they're going to come towards the end now. We're going to stay with them. Apologies, we couldn't get any of the A riders, so I think we're going to stick here because at least we will see the finish for these B riders. Apologies to our A and potentially our A plus, or we might just be able to catch the A plus. We're going to stay here until the end now for these ladies.
Great. Well, I think it's this is going to be one of the more competitive parts of the. There's competition everywhere, but when you've got such a decent group together coming up together, it's going to be so competitive because they've got a lot that they can play for. They've got the points here at the top of the hill, and then of course they've got the overall win. And for the purposes of the GC, the more time they can take out their competitors, the more they can get extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. That can make a difference to where you come in the final standings.
So who is taking it home today in this one?
Well, I got to say, Court is currently 1 minute 46 ahead. Although there's 2 challenges for that. Number one is we couldn't see that she's got a heart rate monitor, which would unfortunately disqualifier. And secondly, actually, with that kind of power, she might actually get promoted into the A's. And so who knows what might happen.
Yeah, even if she did get promoted within this or upgraded, as we call it in Zwift, she still would win the category. She can still stay there. It's only if they got upgraded in stage 1 where they'd go up. So 2 and 3, they were safe. I mean, she will, if she hits that power, she may get upgraded in Zwift power, but she will remain a B cat rider for this race.
Brilliant.
But let's not miss the finish now, because I think we are really close now, 50.7. So Bacchus, she's taking the lead here. As I said, in third, really experienced Zwifter. She's going to know what she's doing at the end there, but she's got 2 riders. One of the Cryogen rider has taken 2 seconds out of her, and that's a lot on a hill at 5%.
Yeah.
Haven't seen any power-ups yet.
No, and somebody's obviously decided this is the time to make... Yeah. Time to go now. Berglund, obviously another experienced rider, measuring her effort and knowing where to go. Now we can see Sani there. Sani's not going for it yet. She's measuring her effort up here. She's decided not to go with this group.
She's a little way back, so she's got 8 seconds. She's 8 seconds behind Bacchus and Thompson and Berglund there. So. And she's got a good few seconds, good 10 seconds to the next rider. So if she just manages her power, stays where she is, she's going to stay in a good position for the finish.
I have to say, I would love to see her taking the win out of this group, to be honest, just because we have her on the live camera. It would be
it would be brilliant, wouldn't it? Yeah.
That would be great.
She's got 10 seconds to make up and not very long to do it. So we don't know if that's going to happen. They must be so close to the finish now. I can't see from this view, but we will be able to spot them.
No, so we've got Legrand and Berglund here at the front. I think they've got to come down. Have they not got to come down Box Hill the other side into the finish?
Don't know. Should check, shouldn't we?
Yeah,
I thought they finished. Oh no, they finished. I thought they finished at the QOM.
Really? Oh, right. Well, I apologise if I did.
Soon find out, because we'll see her watch dropping.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah.
There we go. Let's see if we can find those other riders coming in. Well done to all the women riding in that category. So we're going to see Berglund cool down now. They do finish right at the top of that hill. I didn't see a power up there. I don't think she had any left, or didn't have the right power up left.
She didn't. But that was some great racing from the teams there. But with that QOM finish, that does make it a difference in terms of the approach that you would take, and the stretching out those last few meters was a big difference. So unfortunately, we've now
we're just in main Zwift.
Just in main Zwift at the moment.
Oh, fantastic! Let's comment on this. Okay.
Go, Niels. Here you go. Off you go.
So and there you go. You can see that Sani's finished. Well done, Sani. Great
out
ride.
Her huge water bottle.
Yeah,
well done, Sani.
Yeah, well done.
The bottle is massive. It's really it was not the perspective. It's a really big bottle. Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's like one of those Peloton things. You get to use build your upper arms just by lifting it.
Although, can one of you guys maybe pronounce the word bottle properly in proper British English?
What bottle? What did we say?
I
say
beautiful.
Bottle. So does Mike.
It's beautiful. Bottle.
You like
is
it?
Is it one
I
of the?
can't believe that's where we've got to.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
let's go back to Vasquez, who is a random rider that we seem to be following at the moment. I tell you what, we can make up background to Vasquez because we have no idea who he is. So Vasquez, he was a big rider in the 1990s. He was unfortunately disgraced through the EPO doping era and has since become a podcast host on a rival podcast.
Called Vasquez-Chino.
Vasquez-Chino. What else can we say about Vasquez?
He likes chocolate, and he also owns a couple of goats.
He owns 2 goats. Because we all know 2 goats is a party.
One alpaca and an alpaca.
2 goats and an alpaca. He collects porcelain dolls, mainly that have been made in the 18th century. Although and he lost most of his racing fortune when he inadvertently invested in Betamax during the 1980s. So actually, no, he was there in the 1990s, wasn't he? Yeah. His claim to fame is that his father invented the biscuit, which is where Vasquez comes from. We do still seem to be stuck with this poor Belgian rider of randomness. And we can't get back to our D riders.
It was better when. Oh, it's just
Oh,
us now.
it looks like the Zwift feed has finally given up.
We do still have
gone.
riders out there, though. So all we have to do, guys, is talk about the race without seeing the race. We can't see the race, but I can give you some updates from Zwift Power because there are still riders on the course. So we haven't finished.
We're just going to wait. I think we're going to wait for our wait for the Zwift feed to reboot, and we will hopefully try that again for everybody, for anybody who's still watching.
Yeah, at least that poor rider, you don't have to talk about him anymore. And Niels, and another good thing, Niels' backlight's still going.
It's still going. There we go. I should have closed the drawers and maybe cleaned up a little bit behind me. But good thing, no, we're so big on screen. Good that I put some hair gel in. Whew.
Hair gel. Oh yes,
yeah. So hair gel.
And we were testing this the other day, listeners, and the sun must have been coming in at well, two things when we were testing. The sun was coming in at a funny angle, and Niels looked like he had a completely different change of hair color.
He looked like a ginger. That's what he looked like. Nothing against gingers. Some of my best friends are gingers, but
my daughter's ginger.
Indeed. But yeah, you were. It looked like an incredibly vibrant ginger, which you suddenly seem to be.
What I realized, actually, since I have a ginger daughter, like whenever I see other parents with ginger kids, there's a connection. We always like say, "Hey," like no, we don't say "Hey," but we just look at each other. I think there are like certain groups of people that, when they meet each other, they greet. Like my wife told me, like women above a certain height, they look at each other and they're like. Yeah.
Ah, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Or like bus drivers.
It definitely doesn't apply to Mike.
It's like little people as well, Mike. Right?
Yeah. Well, that's it. I always try and me and other little people high five each other because if we high five other people, it just looks embarrassing. Now,
I can give you some actual information on the race. So the C category riders are at 48k. So we have got 2k of uphill riding to try and find someone in the C category that we can follow. And the D riders are at 44. They haven't hit the hill yet. So we're going to try our very best to try and get those C riders before they come into the finish.
Quick question,
and before Mike and Niels start, I don't know, covering something completely different.
Before our commentary gets even worse. Quick question, Gemma. Where's Jordan Johnson coming in the D cat?
I don't think that Jordan is riding tonight. I couldn't see her. I would. Let me have a look.
It's terrible when you have your heroes and then they just let you down.
Let's just hang on a minute. She may be riding. She another rider who we are really great fans of is obviously Jazz, but we all knew that the 50k was going to be a big ride for a little girl of 10 years old. So we are sad to miss Jazz tonight. Not racing. I know she definitely isn't.
I'm just here for her.
But it's a long ride for a little girl. So I'm not surprised, and she's done very well over the past couple of days.
She has. She's been great. Now we're still waiting to see if we can somehow find one of the C or D riders for our Zwift feed. Hopefully, we'll find
equally, I'm trying to find if Johnson is riding. I'd be surprised if she's not, but I'm sure that I couldn't see her. We can't get anything on the C cat riders.
Will we get this live stream back on? Do you think?
We're just looking. We're trying to find some riders within. It's really difficult. Sometimes the fan view doesn't work. So I will be able to tell you in the meantime if Jordan's riding because I've got that information now. Let's have a look.
That reminds me a little bit on a football game in the 90s of Bayern Munich where the goal collapsed just before the start and then the commentators were commentating how the people were trying to rebuild the goal for like an hour and a half. That was fantastic.
That's us.
This could be commentary gold. You never know.
So I can't see Johnson. She might have started, but she wasn't in the live feed, and I can't see who the entrants are now because obviously they're on their way. I'm sure that I saw her, but I'm not sure. Maybe she had a technical issue actually because she's not riding out there at the moment.
Well, she can join us with the.
She can come on the commentary.
Issue. Yeah, indeed. Oh, yeah. Well, unfortunately, it looks like we're unable to get any of the Zwift coverage. We have been let down, ladies and gentlemen. We do apologise. Now, Gemma, are you able to see who has, for the people that come across the line, are you able to give like a top 3 from Zwift Power?
Yeah, what I can try and do is that, and I'm actually going to see if I can get into Zwift this end actually and see whether I can find any riders for you, which would be great. So let's have a look. We know that the A plus and the A's have finished riding. Yeah, I can't see who came first. It's really difficult because of the points.
Of course,
The points scoring. Yeah, so let's
well,
see.
for the riders out there, if you want to, I'm sure you'll probably get an email with your position and your points. But for any of the people who are the fans, the results will be published on the Facebook page of the Warrior Games, where they will be able to give you an update of the final placings. That I'm sure you'll be able to also see where people came in terms of points as well.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. I can probably get the live stream up, but you're going to have to just bear with me if that's okay.
Well, the reason why we do have Niels here is for these such occasions, because for those of you that aren't aware, Niels is a great singer. And it's at this point that we'll hand over to Niels. He'll probably just grab out of his guitar and give us a song.
No, I thought I was here for the international accent, for the looks, because I used to be a model when I was 6 years old, actually, for sandals.
Really? You were a model for sandals?
Yeah, when I was a child, when I was 6 years old, for a local shop.
Really did you have to wear socks with the sandals?
What does it mean? Like because I'm German? Like is this like a weird stereotype or something?
Yeah, I've seen you wearing socks with
and
sandals.
Are fantastic, actually.
Yeah.
When it's like a little bit too cold, but not just yet.
I didn't know that was your modeling career. I knew. I didn't realize it was sandal modeling. That's fantastic.
What about, guys?
I retired when I was 7.
More interested than Niels sandal modeling is if anyone has a really interesting story to tell, and they can put up with us three, then you can write to us actually, because you could be a guest on our podcast.
So whilst Gemma is trying to find the Zwift feed, and I think let's give it like a few more minutes before we save these people from the embarrassment of a commentary where we can't see anything. Yes, we should probably let you know that the three of us are part of the Velocino podcast. And if you would like to listen to the podcast, we tend to interview sports people and people for in and around the world of cycling, because the catchphrase is that the best stories have not yet been written. And it's very much about the stories behind the event, isn't it, Niels?
Yeah, or the story behind the rider, or the story behind the person. It does not have to be a rider per se. Like in our last episode, we spoke to Martin McDonald, who is basically the voice of GCN and Eurosport for women's riding, together with Denny Rowe, and it was fascinating speaking to him. We learned a lot. We didn't use everything we learned, obviously, but he was just a fantastic person to speak to. We have spoken to Anna Henderson from Team Jumbo-Visma when she just signed for Team Sunweb, actually, before the last season. And
right. We've spoken to DS's who spotted her in Simon Howells, who is manager now of Cam's Tifosi team. We've also got people who have led international expeditions and long distance world record holders. We've got a couple of those as well. But what we're always interested in is the story of the people. And thank you to so many of you that sent in your rider info with little tales about where you've come from, what it is that you've faced, and what it is you've done in terms of where cycling fits in and Zwift racing for you. So we'd love to hear from some of you, and you could join us on our podcast. And it is slightly, but only slightly, less chaotic than the commentary that you're seeing now, where we can't actually see the race.
Yeah, I'm really struggling to get some fan view as well. I will try just for a little bit longer, because I know our riders are still out on course, and it would be a shame not to see them finish.
Yeah,
I'll give
absolutely.
I'll give you an update of where they're up to. It's likely the C riders have finished, but if we can find a D rider, the D riders, so C's are finished and the D's are at 48. Okay, so I'm going to try and find a D rider for you. We've got some left. For some reason, the fan view seems to stop working. Maybe when it's had enough of us commentating.
I think that the problem with the fan view is that after you keep looking at the same rider multiple times, it turns into stalker view, at which point it's got some sort of safety mechanism and seems to shut down. But we do have some challenges with the technology.
Yeah,
It is
actually,
amazing, though, if you think about it. We've got international people racing head-to-head in a virtual world, delivering huge amounts of power, and we're now currently streaming it and commentating it. So let's face it, the technology is incredible. It's not surprising it can't always keep up. So, Jem,
yeah, I'm getting better now. I have found a rider, but they finished.
Oh.
So we could watch someone cooling down.
So anyone who's watching the images now, you
They're
can
not
see
seeing the images because I haven't shared the screen, but I can try and do that for you. It's really tricky.
Anyone watching now can see this is Gemma's thinking face.
I'm sorry.
She's desperately trying to find riders. No, keep going, Gem. Anything you can do is brilliant.
Maybe in the meantime, you should get like Mike on the full screen. He can show us some belly dancing.
I've got.
You have done that before.
No, they finished. They finished, but I thought it was better than nothing.
Well, what do you mean with nothing? It was us, our faces, pretty faces, beautiful faces.
Yeah. So see, is this coming up to finish?
No, they've all finished, I think. Just trying to find riders. Now, for some reason, we are allowed to follow them if they're close to me and I'm in the pen, but not if they're not. So let's just keep looking for you.
So warming down is actually, or like cooling down is actually very important, right? Especially when you have done like 50K. Oh, by the way, I'm cramping at the minute. All right, this one.
Yeah.
Is that news because you didn't cool down?
I didn't, because I get to jump straight onto the microphone because,
it's
these races.
When people are cooling down, I think it's often. I've got a question for you, Jem, in terms of cooling down.
Sure.
Which is what kind of RPM should you be looking to do when you're cooling down? Because I think sometimes if you just let your legs go round at a really slow pace, I'm never quite sure if I'm kind of releasing some of the various things, lactic acid and various other things, if I'm releasing it from my legs, or I'm just really on a different type of sofa.
Yeah, it's really difficult, actually. These riders would have just gone up that hill, so put down a lot of power and potentially quite low cadence, really high. So they'll want to spin out when they're at the top. It looks like this rider here has already done that, and she's cooling right down now. You can see her watt's super low, and in fact, we're probably going to lose her in a minute, so I'll try and find someone else. I really can't find anyone from the D riders, but we want to keep trying because they're still out there, they're still riding.
If they're still out there, we will keep trying.
We'll keep trying, guys. So let me just try and find someone for you. You're going to keep seeing more of my thinking face. I'm sorry.
That's no problem.
Okay.
That's okay. So Niels, what's your post?
I think we're on.
Oh
yes.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, I figured a different way to do it. So we have a DCAT rider here from Socks for Watts. Let's see whether we can find out where she is in the running and whether we can find some others as well.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So she is at... why can't we see her Ks? Is she cooling down?
I think she might actually be cooling down. She's so far, yeah. Oh no, 281.
No, she's doing 281. She's
108.
She's just coming up to
she's coming up.
I don't know why. Sorry, everybody. We can't see what she's...
Most probably she's cooling down harder than you are racing.
Yeah. There we go. 0 watts.
Oh, hang on. I think they're still...
Yeah, she's just come down Box Hill and she's come back into the
sorry,
underground.
Everyone. I might
There's no worries.
Is she taking the tube home now? Oh, that was a bad joke.
Yeah. Oh, this is that bug bit where she goes backwards as well.
All cooling down, aren't they?
Yeah. Do apologise. Well, look, I think in terms of cooling down, it's time for us to cool down as well.
To cool down. And I think I'll give you a final update of where these riders are. I suspect they have finished, but we want to just check that for them because we'll keep commentating as long as they're riding. Even if we can't see. So there's still a rider. The D riders are still on 49.2K.
It might be a delay between Zwift Power and Zwift. But the one thing to say is a big thank you to everybody who's been watching. Thank you to all the riders who put in the effort and been part of the Warrior Games. There will be future series coming up as well, so look out for those and get stuck in. Now, when we see the final results, congratulations to anybody who's in the winning circle, but also congratulations to everybody who's taken part, because that's really what a lot of this is about, is promoting women's sport and making sure that we're seeing good levels of competition. We've seen some tremendous competitors out there. We were great to see that finish of the B category as they chased each other up the hill. So thank you to everybody, and thanks once again to all of the riders who have let us have a live cam so that we've been able to see what's happening in real life as much as it is in Zwift life. So I guess it's thank you from me.
Thank you from me to Mike. Thank you to Niels as well. Oh no, his light's still going.
Yeah,
thought I'd finished. And a big thank you to David in the background, because he has been struggling. You didn't even get to see his thinking face. If it's anything like mine, then we're lucky that he is in the background.
Indeed. But thank you very much, everybody. And unfortunately, we may be back to cover another race where, who knows, maybe the technology work and we'll be able to bring you more of the
finishing. We'll get better, right? That's just one thing you can be sure, like, we will become better with time, most probably.
Maybe we should upgrade our cat.
Upgrade our
commentating cat.
Exactly. Hopefully we'll go from a cat E to a cat D. But so well done to everybody, and thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time that we're commentating for either the Warrior Games or any of the other race series.
Do we have a catchphrase for the end? Pow, 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 or something?
No, I just think people should get out on their bikes, enjoy their bikes no matter where they are, because we all know that the best stories have not yet been written.
Pow, pow, pow.
Goodbye.